the lights in the stadium went out, forming long shadows that moved to the sound of the crowd's cheers. Taylor Swift, the pop star whose music had been the background for many love stories, stood backstage with her heart racing. She was supposed to celebrate tonight, a night to enjoy the glow of her sold-out Eras tour show. Instead, a storm of feelings built up inside her and was about to explode. Travis Kelce, her boyfriend and the Kansas City Chiefs' fun tight end, had promised her a treat. Taylor was excited about the surprise and hoped it would be a proposal. After months of sneaking away to spend time together, whispering sweet nothings over the noise of the crowds, and a love that grew under the constant scrutiny of the media, Taylor had given herself permission to dream of a future with Travis. Taylor's heart skipped a beat as Travis walked up to her, his familiar grin fading. She thought, "This is it. This is the moment I have imagined so many times." But when Travis spoke, his words broke her dreams like a glass piece break when it hits a marble floor. "Taylor," he said first, his voice heavy with emotion. "I love you more than words can say." But the words that were not said weighed more than the silence that followed. Taylor's breathing shook, and her eyes were wet with tears that she hadn't cried yet. She whispered, but her voice was hard to hear. When Travis took a big breath, his eyes were filled with both love and pain. "But I'm not ready to get married yet. Not yet." The words cut Taylor's heart like a knife. The stadium lights seemed to blend together, and the earth seemed to be tilted. She could feel herself starting to cry, but she forced the sob down so she wouldn't show how weak she was. She said, "I understand," but her voice was very weak. "Thank you for being honest." Taylor turned away and ran away from the scene. The tears she had been holding back were now pouring out openly. She ran to her dressing room to hide, but the door was all that stood between her and the sadness that was about to consume her. A few hours later, as the first rays of dawn broke through the curtains, Taylor came out. Her makeup was smudged, and her eyes were red and swollen. There was still a lot of pain in her body, but she felt determined. She wouldn't let this failure make her who she is. With a newfound resolve, Taylor Swift, the girl who had made broken hearts into hits, put her feelings into her music. She knew that her story was far from over as she wrote songs that gave comfort to people who were sad. The lights in the stadium went out, forming long shadows that moved to the sound of the crowd. The music star Taylor Swift, who is known for her poise and grace, was by herself in the VIP box. Her unshed tears made her image sparkle. She was looking forward to a night of celebration with her boyfriend Travis Kelce and his team tonight. But instead, it turned out to be a night of unexpected sadness. That evening, while Travis was still enjoying the victory of his team, he took Taylor away and looked into her eyes with a mix of love and fear. "Taylor," he said, his voice moving, "I need to tell you something important." Taylor's mind was racing with all the options, and her heart was beating fast with excitement. Would he ask her to marry him? Was this the moment she had been waiting for, the peak of their quick romance? But what Travis said next broke her dreams like a fragile glass piece. "I'm not ready for marriage," he told her in a small voice. "No words can describe how much I love you, Taylor. But I'm not ready to be with you yet. I don't want to be in a hurry about something important." Her breath was getting stuck in her throat as Taylor's world seemed to tilt on its axis. She didn't think her fairy tale romance would end in such a terrible way. As Travis went on to describe his reasons, Taylor forced back tears that were about to fall. She understood why he wanted to take things slowly and build a strong base for their future together. But the pain of being turned down was real and could not be hidden. She had dreamed of a life with Travis, full of love, laughter, and hopes they both had. Now, it looked like those dreams were going away and being replaced by a cold, hard reality. The stadium lights came back on, which meant that the partying after the game was over. Taylor wiped away the tears that had finally come out of her eyes and smiled as she joined the crowd. She wasn't going to let Travis's choice define her. She was Taylor Swift, a force of nature, a woman who had overcome countless hurdles to achieve her dreams. She wasn't going to let this loss get to her. She knew she had to make a choice as she walked out of the stadium with her head held high. She could wallow in her sadness, or she could use it to fuel her creativity and put her pain into her songs. The second option made her heart feel stronger, so she picked it. In the weeks that followed, Taylor wrote songs that were full of her feelings. The words were about the pain of losing a love and the strength of the human spirit. Her singing gave her a way to let out her feelings, heal her wounds, and give hope to other people who had been through the same thing. Taylor took comfort in the fact that she had made her pain into something beautiful that could touch the hearts of millions of people as her music reached new heights. As for Travis, he watched from afar. He felt terrible as he realized how much he loved Taylor and how big of a mistake he had made. It was too late, though. She had moved on, her heart was better, and her spirit was stronger than ever. The stadium lights went out, making long shadows on the field. Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift's boyfriend and an NFL star, stepped onto the 50-yard line. There was dead silence, and Swift's heart was racing. The stadium was lit up by a medley of smartphone flashlights as people held their breath for the big moment. Taylor's mind was a montage of moments that played over and over again, the stolen glances, the shared laughter, and the vows whispered under the stars. It was the end of a crazy story that was being shown to the world, and Taylor was so excited she could hardly hold it in. Travis is usually very sure of himself, but when he took her hand, he seemed surprisingly nervous. "Taylor," he said, "you are the most amazing woman I've ever met." Everyone in the crowd heard him. "Thank you for making my life so happy and bright. I can't think what would happen without you." Taylor's eyes were sparkling with tears that wouldn't stop, and her heart was full of love. She had dreamed of this moment since she was a little girl. It was the moment that every love song she had ever written had been building up to. But Travis's voice shook, and with that one word, the fantasy fell apart. "I'm not ready to get married." Everyone in the stadium let out a loud gasp that could be heard through the utter quiet. Taylor's whole world turned upside down, and her heart dropped to her stomach. She had been holding back tears, but now they were pouring out in a flood that made her feel like she might drown. Travis couldn't do anything but watch, and his eyes were filled with sorrow. "I know this isn't what you wanted to hear," he said with a heavy heart. "But I'm just not there yet. Taylor, I love you more than words can say, but I need more time." It became hard for Taylor to see clearly. The stadium lights turned into a jumble of pain. She was falling backward so hard that she could barely hear the people talking. Her legs felt like they were going to give out from under her. It wasn't meant to end this way. It wasn't the fairy tale ending she had imagined. Taylor turned and ran away as Travis tried to comfort her. Her tears mixed with the rain that was starting to fall. As she ran through the empty halls, her sobs echoed in the silence until she reached her dressing room, which she knew was safe. It was then that she fell to the floor sobbing as the truth of what Travis had said hit her. The engagement ring she had imagined now seemed like a cruel joke, a sign of a broken dream. Taylor had always believed in the magic of love and happy ends, but now she was starting to wonder if those things were just the stuff of a songwriter's mind.